Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll review the new Osgood Perkins film, The Monkey. The film was written and directed by Perkins. It stars Theo James, Tatiana Maslany, Christian Convery, Colin O'Brien, Rowan Campbell, Sarah Levy, Adam Scott, and Elijah Wood. It was released on February 21st, 2025. So far, the film has received generally positive critical reception, and we'll have to wait and see how it does at the box office. With this very brief context laid out, let's discuss my thoughts on the film. Let's review The Monkey. I went to the theater last night with moderately high expectations. I've become a big fan of Osgood Perkins due to his debut film, The Blackcoat's Daughter, and his recent effort, Longlegs. His other work was less exciting, but in general, his style of horror appealed directly to me. I moderated my expectations due to the unknown effect that shifting from a horror-first approach to a comedy-first approach would have on his work. I left the theater with mixed feelings towards the film. It was funny at moments. It had some gruesome kills. It was confidently directed with good acting and solid technical chops. It was enjoyable, stupid, and goofy in a way I wasn't entirely expecting, feeling like an extension of the sillier and funnier aspects and moments found in Longlegs. However, the film was also repetitive, with some of the kills less than spectacular, like a Final Destination film with some awesome gruesome kills and some disappointing CGI-filled kills. I could already tell that the humor in the film was going to be polarizing. Not that it's controversial or politically incorrect, but more so that it is immature and stupid in a way that I'm sure some will find grating after a while. Perkins leans into this style and constantly repeats the joke. It makes the second act bog down in parts and makes you wonder exactly where the film is going. The third act picks speed up again, but ultimately leads to a weak ending. The opening is great, but the unsatisfying nature of the rest of the film means that this great opening is way down. The writing in the film is okay. Dialogue has been something Perkins has struggled with in his career, but I felt like Longlegs was a step in the right direction for him. In this film, the dialogue is a mixed bag with some hilarious lines mixed with awkward character moments that don't land. Some of the humor feels repetitive. How many times can an F-bomb in reaction to a ridiculous death be funny? Which adds to the at times monotonous flow of the film. I did enjoy how much of the film felt like a parody of the traditional approach to trauma we see in so many horror movies today, with those moments being the most authentic and well-written elements of the screenplay. The acting is solid across the board. Theo James gives a good dual performance and is properly unhinged. The child actors do a good job, which is nice. Rowan Campbell's character is absurd in a fun way. Tatiana Maslany gives a strong performance as well, and I also enjoyed Elijah Wood's cameo, which was appropriately ridiculous. Perkins' direction is steady and consistent, clearly showcasing a continuation of his style. Even in a comedy, he is still working through the trauma of his parents' tragic deaths. He doesn't deviate from the style he is trying to accomplish, clearly showing confidence in the material and his vision, which is good. You can tell he had a good time coming up with this story and in its execution. It's like a comedian who's enjoying telling their own joke more than the audience is enjoying hearing it, which in itself can be funny in its own way. The deaths are going to be a major talking point surrounding the film, and for me, they were of mixed execution. Some kills will be in contention for the most iconic of the year, while others were a bad usage of CGI and left me unsatisfied. This film has one of the largest gaps between the good and bad kills I've ever seen, and it feels like the CGI plays a large role in this. We get a lot of death scenes, and eventually, the humor of the deaths falls flat. We know what to expect, and it comes, and then someone drops an F-bomb, and we move on to the next situation with a ridiculous death. These over-the-top Rube Goldberg Final Destination-style deaths can be funny as hell sometimes, but the consistency is lacking, and this hurts the film. It's also probably part of the reason that the film feels like it screeches to a halt at times. The monkey itself is a fun villain, and it has the perfect look for this type of film. I never read the Stephen King story that this was based on, but the film seems to have a slice of the dark humor that he relishes. This is better than a lot of King adaptations, but it's not near the best. Instead, it falls somewhere in the middle due to too many problems to ignore. I enjoyed watching the film and found it pretty good. In a way, that's a disappointment in comparison to some of the best of Perkins' work. But this is still better than his film Gretel and Hansel, and probably I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House as well. This feels like a film I might need to rewatch before my feelings are fully cemented, but for now I feel conflicted. I enjoy it, but its obvious flaws are what stops me from giving the type of blanket recommendation I would love to give for a silly killing monkey horror comedy. Perkins is still one of the best modern directors working in the horror space, if not the best, but this film is not evidence of the peak of his powers. After the credits rolled, we got a small preview of his next film, Keeper, which was described as Perkins' next dark trip, and the style shown in the teaser fits within his more pure horror style. That is very exciting, and I can't wait to see that film. If you are a big fan of Perkins, I would still say you should probably go and check this film out in the theaters. If not, it's probably best to wait until it makes it to streaming. That's all for this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. You should also check out the video on your screen now. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.